Hello, everybody. How many people do we have in the chat? Two people. Welcome, Johnny. Welcome, Dismal Saturnian. I'm gonna be chilling out a bit here. How's it going over there? How is it hanging? I hope we're doing good. As of now, I'm hanging out. I'm just out of the big meeting. I had everything set up, so I was like, why not? Let's do a little bit of live streaming. As the world keeps falling apart, we're gonna do some nice and calm vibes, taking it easy. Got the guitar here and a bit of water, and we'll see how far does it get. I hope everybody's doing well. I was, yeah, just had a very long meeting. I just joined DM20. I always mess up the number. DM25. And yeah, I had a first meeting for a task force. Hola, Franglish. How we doing? I'm wondering if everybody's speaking Spanish here. I could have some Spanish comrades on the wire, and we could make a Spanish stream, and then half of the people will leave. We're all stuck with the language of the empire. But I guess it is what it is. DM25, it's a political organization to create like um, a better European Union, that is not neoliberal and awful and anti-democratic, but a European Union that is all democratic. And don't worry about it. We're not gonna leave the we're not gonna leave the language of the empire just yet. Just yet. Stay close for maybe some Spanish speaking nonsense. Hola, Riendis. Welcome. Välkommen allesammans. Witamy wszystkie. We're gonna, yeah. This is a stream that I haven't planned. I hear you. The Latin base of it, that's, yeah. But things have changed since back in the day. Since Romane Ite to, yeah, right, a socialist European Union. We could make a new Soviet Union with Mediterranean characteristic. I've always advocated for that, a Soviet Union that it's all chill, that it's all, about being friendly to everybody and taking it easy. Here we are struggling with our struggles, but keeping up with every day. I was supposed to be making music and stuff today, but I'm gonna make a lot of music tomorrow if all goes well. I'm gonna visit a friend and we're gonna make a little bit of music together. We are putting back together our old band. I used to be in a band called La Vaca Guano. We stopped playing together back in 2005, but we never stopped being together. Just the playing activities, going live, playing places, and now we're recording. A few songs. Everyone at their place, with their instrument and doing what they can. And we're putting together a few new tracks, all in Spanish, because La Vaca Juana was singing in Spanish. But I'm pretty sure that even when you don't understand much Spanish, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have you're gonna find some proper value to it. Let's say. Let's see if I can find something. I think it was. I can try and find something from La Vaca Guano. I mean, we have some stuff out there. Like this is from our meeting in 2015. Yeah, we played this one time. Let me see if I can figure out. Okay, share screen one. There you go. You see all my OBS bullshit going on. Let me see if I can, add. What's I need to remember how to do stuff, but. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can do actually just browser. Okay. Okay, cancel. Nah, this is not what I was talking about. Display capture? No. There's browser color source in Siphon client, text VLC, video capture device. And I'm gonna add the webcam here on the background and make it smaller. And now you don't need this. And let's see if I can show you some. Yeah. This used to be. So yeah. This was that time when we played in front of 9,000 people in a stadium back in the year 2000. The music is from the album though. And as you can hear it well. That was us 20 years ago.
Suele comercial chico.
Again, you know, the audio is from the album, but you get the gist. We played 4 songs. It was a lot of fun. Shit ton of people, big ass stadium. I was sporting a very ugly mustache. This was recorded on this was recording on this was recorded on just on tape, on a Betacam tape, but I think the scan from the from the YouTube video is scanned from a VHS copy of that tape. And I think I got one of the. This is a kind of a preview of the new stuff that we're doing now. I mean, this is audio only. Right on. Nuevo idioma universal. ¿Dónde está la bandera de Nepal? Whoops, sorry. Bandera de Nepal. Entre todo el reino animal, busco la pantera para representar. Veo herramientas, tecnología, poca cultura, nada de filosofía. Vehículos y religiones, antropocentrismo, falsas emociones, casi todos los deportes. Solo dos tipos de artistas, conceptos de la élite, clasistas, machistas y racistas. Lo que no ves no existe. Yo lloro de la risa con el chiste. La vaca guano, esto te parte. Dedito gordo, manitas en el aire. La vaca guano, injerto de vinagre. Vuelve, rebelde como el baile. A mayúscula, dentro de un círculo. Hago la búsqueda y me siento ridículo. Símbolos del dólar, euro, yen. Es lo que persiguen, 100. Pensamiento, límite, sin imaginación. En la edad dorada. Yeah, Betamax was, Betacam, not Betamax. It was Betacam, professional one. But the scan from the video was. Hago arte con emoticonos. Me tapo oídos, boca y ojos como los tres monos. Números, títeres, es lo que somos. Pensamiento, límite, sin imaginación. En la edad dorada de la comunicación. Jaja, carita sonriente por privado. Hola y adiós cuando nos cruzamos. Pistola de juguete para el bombardeo. Un misil es un símil muy feo. Anyway, it's a work in progress. And this is, This is, Très bueno. That's a French and Spanish mix. That's nice. Très bueno. One day, the French will catch up. In the meantime. So that's what we're up to lately. Plus, whatever you I hope you all know about my SoundCloud thing, where you can listen to some of my latest music that I've been doing. Some of it, just it's not all of it. There's some soundtracks and all the stuff. Yeah, the original. I remember playing in that stadium in the year 2000, and we were like we were on this on this stage, and our friend was there with a TV camera, and it was two of them. One of them was holding the camera, the other one was holding the cables, and they were following each other. It was fun. Because it was something that friends did, so it was nothing professional or anything. But people who were seeing the show were probably tripping a little bit, what's with the camera crew, right? It was just a couple of friends from our neighborhood who had access to one of those TV cameras that recorded in Betacam. That was like the professional format back in the day. But that was another story. Stories of all people. How are you all hanging out in your places? How is life right now? And where you all at? Where are you all at, people in the chat? Where are you? I'm in Madrid, Spain. Taking the heat a little bit. It's not so hot anymore. We're in September already, so yeah, it's warm, which is nice. I like hot. That's a matter of taste, I suppose. And using these lights, with over there, trying to run out the batteries so I can load up the batteries and be ready, because I'm gonna be shooting a short movie on Saturday. So I gotta be ready with the batteries for these babies, and they need to run a couple of cycles before they're in optimal shape Yeah, the show on the video was a big ass show. You know, it was good stuff. We were we were yeah. Texas, how is Texas doing? How are things? How are things in your localities? You know, let's talk about the stuff. How are things? You know, the ambient in the United States is rough, right? Because things are falling apart very quick. Things are really falling apart. Pennsylvania, very hot. Tallinn, as usual. Yeah, yeah, of course. North of Europe, summer goes. I remember when I used to live in Oslo, and we said, you know, that summer is the best. Summer is the best season of the year, and it's last year it was Tuesday. So I guess you guys you people in Italian say more or less the same, right? I really need to do something with this guitar. I think it's yeah. I think the neck it's a little bit twisted. Changes with humidity and everything. You change it. But yeah, the political ambient there and it's fucked up. It's fucked up. The United States is going down, and that's geopolitically it's very good news. But for the good people living there, that's a dramatic turn of events. You know, that's fucked up. People are people are suffering already, and people are gonna suffer even more, and that really sucks. That's really awful. My only hope for the people in the United States is that they're really learning. You know that they're really learning that that we can that we can do mutual support and organize. You know, aside from the state. And leave the guitar here in the back. Get a little bit closer so I can read y'all. Glad that the COVID cases are dropping in Texas. I hope you people are doing good because, you know, I haven't gotten the COVID thing. I'm lucky. But I know some people who have, and it's a very unpleasant experience that can easily lead you to death, and that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. That's really, really fucked up. So, I don't know. We should really be aware of that, right? So that's something that we need to take into account for real. Hours away from the city surrounded by fascists. Oh shit. Oh shit. They really need to suffer. It's about time, everybody's playing civil and shit, and that's great. I love civil. But civil is for the times that we can afford to be civil, if you know what I mean. And maybe we are not in a position that we can afford to be civil anymore. And it sucks. It's really awful. Nobody wants that. But, considering how the government is falling apart and the legitimacy of the United States as a country in the world, it's falling apart. It's really, I mean, nobody in the world takes the United States seriously right now. Like it's a bad joke, and it's a bad joke that is descending to fascism, and that's dangerous because it's enabling fascists all over the world. We here in Spain, we have fascists, all gloating, being all proud of themselves, and being very loud and being supported by the media, which is fucked up. Like the Spanish media is terrible. The Spanish media is everything is private, uh, you know except for the public TV, which is kind of neutral-ish, but really sucks because it's very conservative. Even when we are supposed to have a quote unquote progressive government, but yeah, yeah, but Riandis, when you plan to move out to new country, it's fucked up because you're a migrant, and from personal experience, I can say that it sucks being a migrant. When you move to another country, you don't know where the language is. I was thinking, if I have to get out of Spain again, like I've been living in Poland and I've been living in Norway. Have you heard speaking, Polish or Norwegian? They're very difficult languages. I mean, Norwegian not so much, but it's very hermetic. Like if you see it written, it makes a lot of sense. But Norwegians, they speak with a lot of different dialects, and you don't always understand what they are saying. Yeah, you get a gist of what they say, but sometimes it's difficult. And it's fine. It's the difficulty of learning a foreign language. Learning a foreign language is fucked up, and it's fucked up. It's when you live abroad, you're a little bit disconnected to the political and social environment of where you live. You're like cast aside, when you live as a migrant, and it takes a toll on your psychological well-being. It takes, yeah, it takes a big toll. I mean, if you find a support network, then you're striking gold, basically. Yeah, cases are going up in, yeah, but yeah, I know. It's same here in Spain. We have cases going up all the time because we can't stay, we can't isolate ourselves, distance ourselves. But most of the cases are happening in workplaces, and that's what the media is trying to obscure and trying to blame on kids going out. Which, well, kids are also going out, and gathering in big groups, not wearing masks and whatnot. I was hanging out with my friends not long ago, and we were just hanging out, but we were keeping distance and taking it easy. But I know a lot of people don't do that. They, and it's very fucked up because this virus is really, it's really nasty. It's something that our bodies are not used to. It's a new thing, so our immune systems are not 100% there. And viruses do that thing that viruses have to go through your system, do their shenanigans, and leave the same way they went, the same way they came. So yeah, we have really bad numbers in Spain. But living real life, the only way that you notice what's going on, there's two main things. One of them is hearing of friends who have lost people. Like I have a friend of a friend who died, their parents, mostly elderly people, but not necessarily. You went through COVID this month. Wow, that's rough. How are you holding up now? Did you recover well? Have you done? Have you been? Because I have a couple of friends who had the COVID and went through it, and they're recovered mostly. I heard of people with that leave like permanent damages. But I think so far all my friends who had the COVID, yeah, a virgin soil epidemic. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It's like our systems are not used to that shit. But anyway, there's no way to stop viruses. Like that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong. Uh, but the way I perceive viruses is like when you have the cold, that you can do nothing to stop it. When you treat the cold, what you treat is the symptoms. It's the cough, it's the headache, it's the runny nose, and it's all the and what you do is you numb yourself to the symptoms. But there's no way to stop the thing. The thing goes through you, and then it's over. The cycle is over, does its shenanigans, goes away, done and done. The problem is that shenanigans that this new virus does is very fucked up, and we don't know much about it. And that's, I mean, I would say scary, but let's not run into the paranoid, scary thing all the way, but more like, more like being cautious, cautiously optimistic, I guess, or not optimistic, but just cautious. Yeah. Damn. Oh, and the dementia patient. Wow, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Because dementia is very, I mean, it's fucking unstoppable that we know of. That's also, scientists, doctors, and the sorts, they do the best they can, but they're not infallible. They're people. You had only strong cough, but it was from almost a month. For almost a month, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully you'll be good as new. It's very different. It affects very different, different people. So it's very very hard to tell. There's it's not a simple problem. It's a complex problem, and it's complex problems are they're difficult to tackle. There's no simple solution to that shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same here. I hope you're okay, Dismo. I hope you're yeah. Stay strong. Do whatever you can to take care of yourself, and I'm trying on my end too. It's fucked up. And I got depression, and it's like this absolute certainty that your worth as a person is zero. Your worth as a person is nada, zero. And you try and do stuff, to prove that you can do stuff. But maybe your stuff is valuable, but some uh, a ruthless demon inside of your mind tells you that no matter what you do, you ain't worth shit. And that's a very fucked up thing to have as a disease. It's a mental illness, right? Yeah, but let's not give into conspiracy theories. And I know what conspiracy theories and bullshit like that. It's a way people. It's very hard in a society that values so much this performativity of being awesome. It's very hard for people to say, "I don't know." I don't know. That simple sentence is very difficult to say. Saying "I don't know" about this or that. It's it's very difficult to admit that you don't know about anything. That's why I always say, you're so clueless, but so am I. I don't know shit about shit. I'm winging it just like everybody else. I just admit it. And it's fucked up. Yeah, it's a daily battle. Absolutely. It's absolutely. So, when when you try to explain a world that is absolutely absurd, you try and connect the dots, and that's where all the fantasy goes haywire. Yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know if you've seen the video I made about the I'm gonna play it. Why not? I'm gonna play my video about the pandemic. It's got English subtitles. It's mostly in Spanish, but I'm gonna whoops. I'm gonna play it if I find it, and you can check it out. You can check it out, and I can get a sip of water too while we all watch together. Where's you? Saldremos de esta, I think it was called. Madrid, the media. Here it is. Play on the tubings of things, and put the English captions on. I'm gonna play it full screen. So I'm not gonna see the chat for a while, but I'll be right back at you. So you can have like full size English subtitles if it's okay with y'all. I hope it is okay. Wait a sec. I gotta do the OB of the S. Gonna take a last glance at the chat. What's going on? Yeah, I know the feeling of being alone in your apartment, and yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things, COVID or not COVID, one of the things that are fucked up about this world is that living in a capitalist society is fucking unhealthy. It really, it fucks your mental health. But all those industrial products, all that shit, way cheap way that we have, to feed ourselves. We don't eat healthy food. We don't, it's very fucked up. So we really need to be aware of that. Okay, I'm gonna play this video. Let me see. Huasa. No? It doesn't fade, the motherfucker. It's fine. We can totally... There you go. Full screen, English captions. There it is. This video is a little bit different. We'll laugh at some point soon. Un día llegó un desastre y nos pusimos a cubierto. Soy del país que sale a la calle siempre, haga frío o calor, a bares, a parques, a puestos de trabajo, a cines, a teatros, a conciertos y a veces, por desgracia, a esas horribles casas de apuestas que nos arruinan a través de la adicción. La heroína del siglo XXI les llaman. Pero llegó la pandemia. Y mal y tarde nos metieron en casa, a la fuerza. Creo sinceramente que por el bien común. Lo que pasa es que siempre he salido. El futbolista nos anima a permanecer en casa desde el jardín de su amplio chalet en una urbanización privada, amurallada, con esos controles de seguridad férreos. Otros dicen sin avergonzarse ni siquiera un poco que el virus se lo contagió el servicio. El problema es que yo, igual que mucha gente, me tengo que comer este encierro en un pisucho pequeño y oscuro. No me da la luz del sol. No me da la luz del sol. No me da la luz del sol. La gente finge desde su balcón que todo sigue igual. Lata de cerveza en mano, poniendo música muy alta y muy fácil, colgando cosas, saliendo puntuales a aplaudir a no sé quién por no sé qué, vigilando con una mano en el teléfono para llamar a la policía si ven a alguien por la calle. Obedientes, jaleando las palizas y los abusos de poder de quienes protegen eso, el poder por el placer del poder en sí. Fuera, en la calle, la poca gente que sale es porque tienen que comprar comida o salir a trabajar o porque sus empresas han decidido que no pueden perder dinero, que tienen que salir a trabajar en el horario de siempre, en hora punta, con trenes bien repletos. Vaya. Claro, otra gente no saldrá a la calle a trabajar o no tendrá para cosas superfluas como el cine, el teatro, la comida o el alquiler del piso. Vaya, el alquiler sí que hay que pagarlo. Aunque hayan decidido por ti que o bien vas a trabajar a fuerza de exponerte a la enfermedad o no vas a trabajar a la fuerza porque tu empresa ha decidido que no puede perder dinero. Yo hace tiempo que no tengo dinero, ni trabajo, ni propósito en la vida. Yo ya no sé quién soy. Aguanta. Unos días más. Unos días menos. No me da la luz del sol. No me da la luz del sol. No me da la luz del sol. Tengamos fuerza. Saldremos de esta. Ahora bien, ¿cómo queremos salir de esta? ¿Intentaremos fingir, hacer como que no pasa nada, como que todo sigue igual? Si nos han encerrado, es porque pueden. Y también en parte porque saben que muchos elementos de nuestra débil sociedad no conocen el concepto de solidaridad. Que aquí hay demasiada gente que no arrima el hombro si no tiene nada que ganar con ello. Y aún así, si estamos como estamos, es porque desde hace mucho tiempo y como sociedad hemos aceptado que los señoritos mandan y que el pueblo obedecemos. Que lo de la democracia es una cosa superficial, de ponerse de domingo e ir a votar a este o al otro señorito de turno. De las opciones que hay, que son todos señoritos, o casi todos, no lo sé. Pero bueno, qué gracia, ¿no? Ya ves, porque nos han contado no sé qué cuentos de unas clases medias y de comprarse coches y teles muy grandes y cosas así. En préstamos, a cómodos plazos. Venga, que no pare la fiesta. Que total, que ya los pagaremos luego porque nunca vamos a tener problemas. Hasta que los tuvimos. Y es que a lo mejor eso que nos vendieron de las clases medias al final era un espejismo. Y a lo mejor al final el señor ese barbudo de hace 200 años iba a tener razón todavía. Bueno, a grandes trazos, pero no estaba para nada desencaminado. Que total, ese fin de la historia era una mentira que hemos pagado demasiado cara, porque al final siempre hay que pagar. Y adivina quién va a pagar todo. Porque al final, para lo que cuenta, siempre ha habido dos clases. La clase que tiene las cosas en propiedad y la clase que para vivir tenemos que trabajar, producir riqueza para esos otros, los parásitos. Porque por muy prestigioso y bueno que sea tu trabajo, sigues viviendo de tu trabajo. Y si no lo tuvieras... La clase propietaria tiene inmuebles, riquezas... Tiene poder, tiene empresas, tiene maquinaria, tiene cosas que sirven para crear riqueza. Eso sí, ¿quién las va a operar? Ahora la clase propietaria también participa en las finanzas. Esa nueva religión computerizada que por arte de magia prestidigita la riqueza a quienes trabajamos para crearla. Porque no nos queda otra. Si no, ¿de qué vivimos? En esa clase, la que tiene que trabajar para vivir, estamos todas, todos y todes, menos una pequeña fracción de la población. Y muchas de esas personas ni trabajo tenemos ya, aunque nos encontremos al borde del precipicio, viviendo de la poca caridad que queda, la que no ha eliminado todavía el paradigma neoliberal, ese homo homini lupus, aplicado a la modernidad postindustrial. Claro que como clase somos víctimas de esa ficción hecha realidad. Esa especie de ficticio síndrome de Estocolmo, que bien, no está académicamente probado, pero que bueno, sirva como alegoría. Que nos hace aplaudir a esas donaciones de migajas que hace el multibillonario de turno. Oh, gran triunfador de la sociedad. Esas miguitas que reparte para distraernos de que luego los impuestos que debería pagar no los pagan. Pero claro, ¿dónde va a ir la solidaridad comparada con la buena caridad? De arriba a abajo. Como dar de comer a las palomas. También los gestos autoritarios de los legisladores, que viven su fantasía sadomasoquista. El dogma privatizador que nos ha preparado para que cuando el desastre nos dé de lleno, nos haga muchísimo daño. Y además, cuando toque reconstruir, quienes se beneficien sean, sorpresa, sorpresa, la misma clase propietaria de siempre, afianzando su poder y de un plumazo librándose de esa gente que les sobramos. Muy maltusiano todo. ¿En serio vamos a dejar que eso pase? ¿Esta es la normalidad que queremos? Porque podríamos salir de esta también con una serie de lecciones aprendidas. De otra manera, con esa seguridad colectiva que da el ensayo y error. Y tampoco sin jactarnos demasiado quienes hemos visto venir estos problemas desde hace ya décadas. Así que un poquito de humildad nos viene bien. siempre. Porque total, mirar hacia atrás a estas alturas no sirve de mucho. Podríamos aprender que la tiranía es siempre destructiva y que aplicada en el lugar de trabajo lo es aún más. A lo mejor es buena lección la que nos dice que desparasitarnos a nivel social es, a fin de cuentas, algo sano. Joder, que nos da potestad sobre nuestro destino. Que cuando la democracia llega a la creación de riqueza, no pierde nadie. Y eso es algo que necesitamos para que nadie sea del todo vulnerable. Algo que a una sociedad la hace más fuerte. Nos vendría bien quitarnos esos lastres que hacen esas jerarquías absurdas entre animales. Y que lo hacen así, porque sí. Porque nos da una ventaja a corto plazo, que luego a medio y largo al final es como escupir contra el viento. Y ese viento nos vuelve más fuerte y más frío cada vez. Y es que es así como sopla el viento ahora. ¿Por qué excluir por motivos de género, raza, nacionalidad, habilidad o especie? ¿No es acaso la diversidad lo que nos hace más fuertes a nivel colectivo? Porque precisamente ahora es cuando echamos de menos esa conexión que antes dábamos por sentada, esos lazos y esa interdependencia tan básica que hasta despreciábamos por esos dogmas individualistas, narcisistas, hostiles que nos han inculcado a base de esa cultura pop enlatada en Hollywood con patrocinio del ejército de los Estados hundidos de esa pobre América. Con mucho respeto al resto del continente, que no han hecho nada para merecer a semejante... En fin. Y con mucho respeto al pueblo de los Estados Unidos, que no es tan infame como sus gobiernos. Además, estamos notando que este poco tiempo que llevamos ralentizándonos como especie, le estamos dando un respiro, aunque sea breve, a ese suicidio colectivo que estábamos cometiendo a base de disonancia cognitiva cultural a manos del cambio climático. Nos empezamos a dar cuenta de que los pueblos indígenas del mundo siempre habían tenido razón en este sentido, y que ahora nos toca escuchar a su liderazgo absoluto al respecto del mundo no industrial, no fagocitario, no capitalista. Huyamos ya de este modelo absurdo de crecimiento eterno, de sociedades multinacionales y de juntas de inversores que se creen sobrehumanos, con esos títulos que se dan para consumirlo todo hasta que no quede nada, y siempre a las espaldas de los de siempre. Es absurdo y siempre lo hemos sabido. Ahora nos toca actuar. Ahora toca cambiar la normalidad esta perversa en la que estamos sumergidas, sumergidos y sumergides. Cambiar el mundo suicida de este sentido común que estamos viviendo ahora a un nuevo sentido comunitario, generoso, solidario y militante. Yeah, that was it. I don't know if you've seen the whole thing. Plus, yeah, the music. Yeah, the marks I told you so. I think I can share it on Twitter again if you want a copy of that image. Hey, no problem. I can speak slow. That's my superpower, I guess. So what did I miss in the chat? Sorry about, because when I run these things full screen, I kind of miss the chat. Let's go for it. Yeah, more cooking at home. That's good. And yeah, it's really alienating. Capitalism was high, South Korea was really high suicide rate. Absolutely, hyper competition. Plus, you know, the death threat of be exploited or die or starve. You know what I mean? Oh, I'll share the Twitter thing. I'm gonna share it on Twitter right now, because if I have to rewind, I could really it could take forever. Now I'm gonna share it again. I'm gonna post the tweet in a sec. It's on my desktop, if I'm not mistaken. Se llama Marx. You want it in English? There's an English called I Told You So. Yeah. I'm gonna share the tweet right now. copy link to tweet and put it in the Twitch chat. Here. Why not? I told you so. And the badass sunglasses. And it's fine, Marx wasn't an infallible god beast type of thing, It was just a smart guy in his time who did, had a few really good insights. And with the help of Engels, they put it together and they did a very good job in analyzing what capitalism was about. When some motherfucker owns the means of production, the rest of us are held hostage. They are held hostage. Sorry about that, my crappy English. At any rate, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, they analyzed it. They tried to be as scientific as you can be scientific towards social issues, which are like societies are very complex systems that you cannot be fully scientific about, and it's fine. You can also you can analyze systematically, and you can also wing it a little bit. That's my speciality. That's why I like talking with more nerdy people who are more scientific in their approach. My approach is more like holistic, call it, from living experience, from all these almost 45 years I've been on Earth, trying with open eyes, being humble and learning stuff, I'm still learning. I learn every day. Saturnian, good night, my friend. Have a really good one. And have a nice sleep and enjoy your not conscious times and have really good dreams that are super cool. Some ASMR there to lull you to sleep slowly. Have a good one. And those of us who are, interested in speaking about the means of production in terms of finance. The thing, finance. Okay, I would say, like, if I was a wizard of finance, speculating every day on Wall Street, but that's a Parliament Funkadelic song, by the way. Check it out; it's fun. And ex-in-laws. What do you mean ex-in-laws? Okay, you went out with some Spanish-speaking person. That's cool. Pleasure for the ASMR. I'm here to help. Friend, family, good people. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. That owning your own business can make you feel oppressed because you have to fill in a lot of paperwork. You have to deal with the administration, which is, let's say, the way things are organized right now. It doesn't make any easier to own your own business. But then again, it's because everything is organized the market is organized in a capitalist way. Right? You know what I'm saying? And you're competing towards against much bigger fish. And you're competing, and competing. It's a key word here. You're competing, and when you're competing and jumping through all the hoops, and all the hoops are fucked up, it's hard. They make it hard because when you're the owner and you make somebody else jump through all of the paperwork, then you're the one in charge. But when it's you, with your co-op comrades, trying to jump the hoops together, it's fucked up. There's also some people who are better at paperwork. We're humans. We have like different talents. We some people are good at something and bad at something else. We don't have to be good at everything, but we have like a skill set, set of talents that we can use to everybody's advantage, to everybody's gain, and that's important. It's our gain, not my gain, but our gain. It's all about benefiting the public. But yeah, the finances, banks and bullshit. They they type money on a computer. The motherfuckers, money that comes from the future, and who's gonna pay for that shit? They make us pay for that shit. Sorry, oi. They make us pay for that shit. You know what I mean? We're they supposedly lend us money that they don't have, so we can pay it later. But they type that fucking money in a computer. So yeah, owning a business collectively it's better than owning it individually. You know what I'm saying? When you put together a worker co-op, it's a lot of work. Just the meetings, but most of the jobs require cumbersome meetings anyway. So why not? Let's do it about the functioning of our business, right? So we all have a word into where are we going at with this, with that, So we'll work with an understanding, more or less. And I'm really sure that your first steps in a co-op's got to be like difficult because until you get like the dynamics of it and whatnot, But you gotta try, right? And I'm pretty sure. Yeah, definitely, but not just at the level of owning a business together as a co-op. It's the most ethical and sustainable way, but also uh, having the market have some ground rules about competition versus cooperation, and that's a political thing, but it's a little bit of also of a philosophical debate, right? Why all this? Where all this competition thing comes from? Why are they forcing us to tear each other down to profit or for personal gain? Yeah. Of course, the speculative bubble is gonna. I mean, it should be popping in real time right now. At a point that many banks have been giving loans. They've been printing that fake money on their computers, and there's been a lot of speculative activity that has been happening before the pandemic, and then now the pandemic has a lot of people defaulting. And at some point, I think I heard Richard Wolff mentioning recently that this financial bubble is right now popping because right now banks are not giving away any new loans. No, the money flow has stopped already. So it's about Yeah, sure. I could join you. I don't know much about economics, to be honest. I'm winging it. You know what I'm saying. I'm not an expert, but I do have like some layman's common sense into things. I could offer that perspective, I guess. It's about it's money from the future from the future that they have the power to create out of the blue, and they shouldn't have that power. That power should be in responsible hands, not in hands that wouldn't have to stand to gain, interest. But maybe in a state that is accountable, but not any state, because I see every time many anarchists come, right. Uh, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm just wondering about how qualified I am to anything at all right now. But and where was I lost my train of thought. But you know, uh, when you're talking about forms of state, it seems like the state is got to be always this oppressive entity, and it doesn't have to. We only know that kind of state because that's the form of state that's been running since probably since the Enlightenment, or even since there are like modern states, as we know it. Yeah, it's nice to be streaming again. Even I'm a little bit lonely. I could use someone on call. I'm used to have people on call and stuff. And because what's the point of somebody ranting and stuff? But yeah, as I said, this is chill. This is taking it easy and talking about whatever we want to talk about. And I'm listening and reading to you all, and at the best of my ability. And I'm really sorry if I read something. I'm trying to read everything as best as I can. But yeah, I mean, we're in this together. I wish we could make like a group call or something instead of, but chat is second best. I understand that there's this lack of symmetry of someone talking with other people who are only writing. So I hear you there. I'll wait for you. I'll try to understand you the best I can, and if I fail, it's on me. Okay. Your uncle worry about it too. The speculative Bobby. Yeah, definitely. He writes in Counterpunch about economic issues from a left perspective. Damn, your uncle is radical. That's great. Yeah. Oh, damn. Tell your uncle he's awesome from me. This random Spaniard in the middle of nowhere says that you're awesome, that you're doing a good work, that is valuable, that is appreciated. Maybe, I don't know, he'll crack a smile or something. Hopefully. But, it's, there are different ways to make a state. And a state that is accountable is a state that is one step further from, one step closer to being democratic. And democracy, it's another word that they've stolen from us. Like, they've stolen it from the people, which is extremely funny because if you go to the root of it, to the, say, etymological meaning of it, it means power, the power of the people. Demos, the people, kratos, the power. So it's the power of the people. It's the people exerting power, and they, for some reason, they've been changing with their news cycles and common sense bullshit, with their communication, miscommunication, or manipulation, propaganda machines. They've been trying to change the meaning of the word to voting every 4 years for some doofus motherfucker that represents this or that side of the bourgeoisie, And it's like, motherfucker, if Marx meant like the dictatorship of the proletariat, if there's, I'm gonna check that link that you just sent me in a moment. I'm going to finish this thought before I get distracted because I'm amazed. But if the dictatorship of the proletariat was a democracy in which only the working class people vote, let's say, to defend the working class interests, but it was like, by all accounts, in its design, like a quote unquote modern democracy, in a way that the demos exerts the kratos, but also in a way that people vote, like in these fake ass democracies that we live in now, that in which you vote every 4 years for whatever brand, because them fucking parties, they're brands. They behave like companies, and they have brands. You vote for brands. You don't vote for Medicare for all or for whatever tax policy. Nah, bullshit. You vote for Trump or for Biden. You vote for Pedro Sanchez or for Pablo Casado. It's bullshit. And yeah, thanks for your generosity into waiting for Grandpa to actually. It's pretty fucking. Ooh, I like the design of this. I'm gonna share it with you people. Counterpunch is awesome. Let's do a thingy. What? No, it doesn't do the fades, the motherfucker. Let's do the cut. There you go. Counterpunch. Rob Urie. That's great. The day after election day. Let's see. The view passed down from on high in the US is that elections are the effective and legitimate means of collective decision making in the realm of the political. Conversely, on matters of war and peace, economic distribution, environmental well-being, healthcare, education, housing, and social warfare, the areas where collective outcomes matter, these are either considered quote-unquote economic in nature, or elected representatives defer to markets, grant decision-making power to corporate players, or act with unanimity across alleged ideological difference. In other words, the liberal conception of politics has remarkably little to do with collective decision-making, which is actually the exact point I was trying to make before. Yeah, that's fucking. Oh, your uncle rules. Tio Rob, you rock. Tio Rob, you know what you're saying. Which, by the way, awesome writing. That's pretty cool. Awesome writing, Rob. Tio Roberto. Good stuff. Very. I like the some of the sentences like. I think the use of the word conversely by itself, it's pretty fucking radical. This is gonna improve my English. That's great. That's very good. But yeah, it's like they play like they're opposite to each other, but are they? I would say no. But the motherfuckers, they behave like companies. They're there to grab power. They're there to not to solve issues. The intention is not to solve issues. That is not they don't even publicize proper programs anymore. If you saw I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw some bits of the convention. It's like nobody talks about any actual problem. They just talk to vague things with plausible deniability. And it's the same in Spanish politics, and it's probably the same everywhere else in the world, if you know what I'm saying. This is just water, by the way. Just keep it in this bottle that kind of looks like a fire extinguisher. Like that. It's the one I carry around with my backpack and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's, public image, as you say. It's pretty good stuff. And I'm going to do some reading later. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Oh, and we have a great thread by okay. It's Scotty now, and it's not Mori like before. I'm gonna share it with you. Sorry about being a boomer. Fade. Pew. It doesn't work, the motherfucking fade. For some reason, it doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Now it does. There you go. We're fading. Fadey. I'm gonna. Where's this scene? Anyway. It's this scene here. Share screen. Share screen 1. And I'm here. Hello, I'm here. Okay. Let's go through this. Let me use the chat as well. Let's go through this. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So, main takeaways of part 1 of Black Marxism by Cedric Robinson. Okay, that's pretty neat. You've done some good readings there, comrade. Good friend, good comrade. By the way, Trendy Toad Bag, good people. What passes itself as historical materialism is sometimes reductive. Okay, yeah. Rather than historically accurate. An idealist rather than materialist. Yeah. A lot of people... Yeah, that's something I've been... Thank you so much for the props on my English. I try my best. I'm almost 45, so I had time to learn a little bit. Yeah, no policy and no solution. Let's check this out because I think Kari is up to something because it's very true that there's a lot of performative materialists, performative dialectical materialists, if you know what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of people that go like that's unscientific and unhistorical. Why? They never explain. They never analyze. They just want to shut you down, with their performative Marxism. And I'm not gonna point fingers. It's useless. It's an attitude that you see around. It's no biggie. You don't have to really take it like super serious either. But El Tío Rob, yes, he rocks. I like his writing, and I'm gonna read most of his articles later. To be honest, I gotta take up into reading again. I have this book with a compilation with all kinds of articles of Gramsci, articles, letters, and whatnot. And it's a lot of fun when he goes all larpy and shit, and when he goes all throwing shade at the motherfucker Mussolini before the whole fascism thing, when Mussolini was in the Italian Communist Party, and he was spot on the motherfucker. He was like this, more or less, paraphrasing. He was like, this motherfucker is a larper, and he's just trying to climb on the ladder and say, "Yeah, I'm the boss of this motherfucker." No, man, it doesn't work like that. It's fun. It's a fun book, but I have to go back to it because depression and shit. It's very difficult to focus. So, but we'll get there. I'm gonna try and force myself. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna go to medication and fuck it. But yeah, okay. If I put this here, yeah, and let me see if it composes well on the screen. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's a little biggish. I'm big on the screen. This is, yeah. You don't have to see my ugly ass face. There you go. So, back to the subject. So, teaser part 2 explains what these reductive idealists, who think they are materialists because they are unaware of their understanding of history, follows from an idealist error. Need to know about the history of other parts of the world other than Europe. Right on. And how they moved from pre-capitalism, though, through capitalism, and mounted their own socialist movement. Yeah, they put together some their own socialist movement. Absolutely, that's one of the things I think Marxism should be about. About there's no one size fits all thing. I think Marx itself. I think it was Engels who said, something around these lines that there's no one size fits all. You have to keep your eyes open, be humble, and learn about your circumstances. The Russian, the Soviet Revolution was good for the Russia back in the 1910s because they had the conditions they had. They were mostly peasants, and there's So we need to take into account first the global bullshit of the internet, and how performative all that shit is concerning how the real life goes, but also how all the bullshit that we read on the internet and we see on the internet and we listen to on the internet is like, yeah, I guess Rob would be, paranoid of the social media. Yeah, that's what I actually links with what I was ranting about. That how this social media global bullshit is affecting us in our heads. So it doesn't affect the real world, but it affects our fucking melons here that we have in here, full of melon material and full of pulp inside and a little bit of a gap in there. It had a scientific name. I just don't remember. Ours is a little bit smaller than the melons. I think it's a little gap of air like this size or something. It's very small. Whichever. It's about, and how our country and our locale is, not even our country but even our region or our city, what are our conditions, how are people doing, how are how many people have ownership of their companies, how the economics are, how the culture is, because cultures shape responses. So how can you reach those people? I really it makes me laugh and it makes me sad a little bit when you see some larpy kid talking about the mass line and the mass movements and how we need to move the masses towards towards the victory and yada yada, and they how this they try and enact the Maoist manual, or whichever, it could be Titoist or whatever, and it really sucks, but because you see that then in their meetings it's like always like 5 or 6 of them, if they ever get to meetings, and it's like, I love you, I want to work with you, you're super cool, I really like your ideas, but also please let's open our eyes, see our circumstances, and how can we improve them. And one of the things, this centuries old feud of anarchist versus more authoritarian types, is like, yeah, you got to transition through government. We all want to get to the same place, but it's very true that on one hand you cannot go cold turkey to a powerless, fully horizontal society, from what we have today. If you go cold turkey to no hierarchies. Everybody's brain is wired, and with all the bullshit. No, most of the people are not deconstructed, and those of us who are trying, we're not fully there either. Let's not believe that we could do it. No. Our own, when we move, when we do things, when we have like we're conditioned. It's fucked up, and we have to admit it. We're conditioned to live in a capitalist mode, society, whatever. So it really sucks, So on the one hand, yes, we cannot go cold turkey to a wonderful anarchist, or not anarchist society, because that's not the case. A society that has full-on anarchist values. When there's no power relationships, when nobody's fucking nobody, nobody's screwing up anybody. Everybody's helping each other, which is the way to go. Absolutely. But it's also true, that we need to transition through different stages. However, we cannot copy verbatim the Soviet model, and we need to really be humble and analyze what did go wrong with the Soviet Union. What did go wrong besides of the? It's never a simple answer. There's always a mix of things, There's the bureaucratization, there's the corruption, like inside, but there's also the Cold War and the geopolitical circumstances that are fucked up. Geopolitics are muddy as fuck. We are trying to reach ideal societies in which we help people, to live the best life that we all can live. For everybody to live well, to live in peace, to live happier, to lead better lives. That's the fucking goal. It's not, and it sounds very simple, but it's very, very, very complex to get there. And that's why we need all kinds of comrades with all kinds of solutions. But we cannot have, a state that doesn't include the anarchist models, that doesn't give anarchists protection and their spaces. So yeah, we need a well-structured state. We need the avant-garde and the party, but the avant-garde needs to be accountable. Because if the avant-garde is not accountable, we're gonna end up in a fucking dictatorship. We don't want that shit, right? So and every locale, every specific, every economy is different. Every society is different. Every culture is different. So we need to adapt to whatever they need. There's I think that for instance, I don't know, in general, it is this a broad, very broad definition, but Slavic societies, they tend to value more strength and strong and decisive positions, and you need more strong and decisive leadership in those societies. But if you put it like a strong, decisive government in a Mediterranean culture, there, you're gonna have a revolt on your hands and like 1 week in it. It's as though, for instance, Spain is culturally very, very anarchistic, but we also need, in Spain, for instance, we also need to be very careful with the reactionary things, because we had like 40-year dictatorship of Francisco Franco, and it was culturally and socially very influential because they killed all the progressive or kicked them out of the country. So what we had left to work with, it was a very impoverished society, devastated by a long war in which one of the goals was actually devastating the society, so people would be docile because people would be tired, poor, and hungry. It was by design. So that cruel motherfucker, they submitted our society to obedience with the complacency of all of the other governments, even the Soviet government under Stalin, and that's fucked up. But that's very fucked up. Stalin, the Stalinist regime, not Stalin the person. Stalin the person was a guy with a mustache. That's about it. But the geopolitical circumstances, they wanted. I think it was George Orwell who pointed out that, and yeah, you gotta take it with a pinch of salt, but who pointed out that the Soviet government wanted Spain to be like one of those quote unquote Western democracies, right? A democracy like the ones that we live in right now, but back in the 1930s, and so they didn't want the anarchist revolution to succeed. So they did whatever. They went to big stretches to deviate all the funds that supposedly would have to go to the front to defeat the fascists, towards putting the anarchists in line. But the anarchists were doing a revolution. At the same time, they were collectivizing lands. They were doing like a lot of autonomous projects that were actually working. So they put a lot of those resources into fighting the anarchists instead of the fascists. And that's why the fascists got the edge, because they had also, it's never simple, it's not just because of that, but they also had the edge of the newest technology in warfare that were trying, to testing. They were using Spain as the testing ground for what would be World War II in the rest of Europe, right? I'm gonna read your chat. Sorry about the rant. I'm gonna continue reading. I need to do more reading and less ranting. I think what you're saying about social media, is that a mental prison? Kind of a mental prison, yeah, kind of like a colonized mind, definitely. And the thing is, we're all influencing each other, but also the mechanics of the social networks and the way that they're structured. Like everybody, there's this general agreement on how Twitter makes us all shitty. But at the same time, we're reading this Twitter thread by Kari over here, I guess. Yeah, that is freaking awesome. It's making a very good commentary. Usually threads have like a lot of commentary, but Twitter, it's like encouraging us to have like spicy takes, to be rewarded by spicy takes. Yeah, it sucks. I know. It's very yikes. The whole thing with the Spanish quote unquote civil war. It's very yikes. We could have a panel about it at some point. Maybe I can invite Fiskifus, comrade and awesome YouTuber, who is he probably speaks also English. So we could have like a call with him. At some point, I'd love. We're gonna have a stream in Spanish. That's gonna happen at some point. I wanna invite. We have like a little, a little gang going on of Spanish YouTube creators, content creators, and we have Fiskifus, and we have Chiniquil, we have yeah, we have some really good people there, and I'd love to do like a round like the Spider-Man guy was fantastic. People who make amazing content in Spanish. You all should learn some Spanish. I would encourage you, not as an obligation, but as something fun to learn. It's a really nice language, and it's really fucking good. And there's a lot of good literature that you can enjoy, and good stuff. But on exchange, I promise to some point in the future learning Polish properly. Nie mówię po polsku bardzo dobrze. Ja zapomniałem wszystkie ale yeah, I'm gonna study some Polish too, so I can actually read Stanisław Lem in Polish. That's and Wisława Szymborska. Yeah, some of the good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff to learn to read in Polish too. So. And in English, I don't know. But yeah, Spain, the thing is, okay, in a nutshell, 1931, in the 1920s, there were like a couple of fake republic. There was the first republic was kind of fake in a way that the king had to step down because of the corruption and whatnot, but they put like a fake dictator, Primo de Rivera, who was a puppet of the king anyway, so it didn't last so much. So they did another restoration, and then the next king, Alfonso XIII, the 13th. Our kings are really silly. They have like names and numbers in Roman numbers. So Alfonso X I bullshit. Fuck them kings. Fiskifus is amazing. Fiskifus is wonderful. All those people, that we have in the chat. Oh my, Cabe Sandia from Argentina. Oh, we got some really good people. Got people from Chile. Oh man, Mapuche people. Yes, amazing people. So the thing is, Alfonso 13th, Alfonso 13, X III. He had to flee the country because he stole even more. The motherfuckers, the Borbones, the Borbonic family, the Bourbon or whatever. Yeah, maybe the English term is Bourbon, like the drink. I don't know. Who cares? They're pieces of shit anyway. So yeah, I mean, he stole. He was corrupt as fuck. People knew, and people kicked him out. And that's why in April 14th. 1931, the Second Republic was decreed by popular mobilization. People went out to the streets in every major city, and they declared the Second Spanish Republic. And it was like a very democratic and one of the most avant-garde democratic experiments in Europe back in the day. Like it had like one of the most advanced constitutions in terms of human rights and whatnot. And it would. Like if you see it today, it's like could use some improvement. But I had a copy somewhere. I lost it. I don't know where. I moved so many times, having lived in Poland, having lived in Norway, having lived in so many different apartments. I think I lost it somewhere along the way. But I had a hard copy of it and read it, and it's like, wow, okay, so it's not so bad. I think it's even better than the one that we have now that was drafted in '78. That has some really fucked up articles, but at any length, it was like one of the most democratic experiments. The Republic had like left-leaning, and right-leaning governments. So it's not, it's not like it was a only left-wing thing, but it was very democratic. It was very advanced and civilized for a society that was very agrarian by the time. It was very backwards. The kings, the dynasty of the Bourbons and before of them the Austrias, but mostly the Bourbons, they kept us behind. We have always lagged. We never had, like in Spain, we never had like the Enlightenment at its own proper time, because when the Enlightenment was happening in Europe and everybody was going all classical liberal and fuck Salmon of a cod, fuck him, piece of shit. And And yeah, when you know the whole Enlightenment was happening around Europe, it was like, yeah, yeah, you know, our king was obsessed with supernatural bullshit and wanted to go back to the Dark Ages, basically. So it was a very extra religious type of society. They wanted, because of most of the monarchy dynasties were obsessed with the Reconquista, when the Catholic or warlords, yeah, I would say feudal lords, got together to take the land back from the Arab rulers that Spain had from, I don't know, for a few hundred years. I don't remember. It was a few centuries. They left a really good. I'm not really good with the numbers, but it was a very prosperous and good time for the Iberian Peninsula. Like all of them, you know, different Arab rule. Say feudal lords as well, but they were like more civilized than the Christians. I remember reading accounts of them being big fans of everybody having baths and smelling well, and reading literature and mathematics and being all about the culture, while the Catholic were all about, you know, taking a shower every 20 years and by accident because they fell into the lake, and being stinky and decadent and uncultured. The culture was reserved only for the monks, but that happened all over Europe anyway. But, you know, in a nutshell, you know, that backwards monarchy always kept Spain a few steps back than behind the rest of Europe, you know, and culturally wise, but also socially wise. So when in 1931 this Second Republic happened, it was a big deal, you know. It was yeah, a leap forward, not to quote Mao, but yeah, it was a very good leap forward in social and cultural things, you know. And you know, we had right-wing governments that were disastrous, but you know, the last government of the Republic was a coalition of several left-wing parties, and they wanted to make like one of the big issues was the agrarian reform. So they were giving a lot of land to smaller farmers to, you know, split apart the big properties that were basically holding the farming industry hostage, basically. And in a nutshell, that's about it. So yeah, that was something. And of course, that's why some of the biggest and richest and more powerful people in Spain coalesced with a bunch of monarchists, but also authoritarian military people to get the Spanish fascism going on. So in 1936, 18th of July, there was this coup d'etat that happened, in which I'm very proud to say, and I have some of the videos there of my latest Madrid en Lucha videos are about, you know, people claiming for the return of the Republic, for a third Spanish Republic. But most of those, you know, powerful and rich people were against this democracy and against these advances. They wanted to... So they instituted, you know, the Spanish brand of fascism, which is very specific, is very heavily relying on religious, Catholic rules, you know, and Catholic bullshit, you know, inherited from the kings. And our current king, when Franco, and this is an important thing, Franco, the dictator, he became the dictator, the leader of the resistance, because one of the other leaders that was more important than him died in an airplane accident. So he maneuvered to get on top, because that's what fascists do. They care about power a lot, and they're really good. They're not stupid, you know. They lie, but they're not stupid. They lie and they make, you know, simplistic bullshit for simple people to get the bait. But they're smart. They're just fucking evil. They're just fucking sociopaths. But you know what happened there is like sorry, this is super long. But what happened there is uh, you know, in a nutshell, there's all these elites, and they had a dictatorship running. They killed half of the country, and the war was extended because it was an extermination war. They didn't want people to oppose them once the war was over. So a lot of people fled the country, and a lot of people were killed, including big cultural figures and whatnot. It was like the Chilean coup d'état in the 70s. It was basically a copy of what happened in Spain. There was a lot of genocide going on. The difference is that the Spanish dictatorship lasted over 40 years. And we had the Maquis, the fighting in the mountains and whatnot. We always had some let's say clandestine movements going on, but it was not enough because most of the people were killed, terrified, or brainwashed by the fascist regime. And that's more or less what's happening in the United States too. People are being killed, brainwashed, or or exiled forcefully from the country. The thing is, it's a much bigger country, and the circumstances are more complex. Saying this, the same happened, it's more anecdotal than anything. It's more a reduction than anything. It's different circumstances and different, But it's good to establish parallels, establish little connection points. That doesn't mean it was the same, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, so 40 years of dictatorship, and the motherfucker had to die of old age for us to have like a quote-unquote transition to democracy again. But our democracy came with a price. It's that the dictator appointed the former King Juan Carlos II, Juan Carlos I. Was it primero? I don't care. Fuck him. Another fucking King Bourbon was appointed by the dictator personally and supported the dictator when in life. So the media sold us that motherfucker was the support of democracy. He was granting democracy in Spain when he was appointed personally by the fucking dictator. So that, let's say that's a little bit fucked up, right? So now the motherfucker, he had to step down because he was stealing commissions from business. He was using his name as the King of Spain to make business abroad and take big ass commissions. So he's right now he's a millionaire or billionaire. Not many people know, but the exact amount of his wealth. But he's got accounts in Switzerland for hundreds of millions of euros. So fucked up as it is, he had to step down and say, okay, I stepped down, and now my son is going to take over. And now his son is our fucking king, which is, Burger King or whatever. Yeah, it's fucked up. Spain is a fucked up country. We have a lot of potential for being an awesome anarchistic avant-garde society. But at the same time, we have a lot of very difficult baggage to deal with, and we have a long way to go to get our shit together, because there's a lot of inheritance of this Francoist era. The Francoist era was so socially engineered that there's a lot of people who miss the Francoist days because capitalism's cruelties are blamed on the left for a magical reason. It's not magical, of course, because most of the private interests, most of the most powerful private interests are still the same private interests that were making big profit during the Franco dictatorship era. So material conditions are important, and ideas to guide them are important. But yeah, he's the Kang, the Borgor Kang. Big shout out to the Serfs, and big shout out to Thought Slime. Fantastic people, comrades. Whose Thought Slime is getting married, apparently. Yeah, somebody wants to keep him. That's awesome. Nobody wants to keep me, so fuck me. Anyway, back to Kari's thread, which I should, be reading. I'm glad you find it interesting, by the way, Rendis. It's difficult, It's a lot to unpack. But yeah. So The expedience of European affairs and the need to emphasize European particularities of capitalism by Marx and Engels birthed chauvinistic movements, true, of socialists who were dedicatedly nation-statist and Eurocentric, which may explain why Marx famously said he's not a quote-unquote Marxist and had to work hard to clear up these problems later. Marx affirmed that in the Communist Manifesto and the German ideology later, that the proletarian internationalism with national liberation movements for minorities or overthrowing of what Lenin would later call special oppression to undermine nation-state hegemony were necessary to precondition to move beyond global capital relations. Hey, the Burger King icon. Yay. Yeah, of course they lied about communism, McCarthyism, and all that 50s, Cold War bullshit. Communism is, it's a good place to go to, and how to go to depends on how your local circumstances are. And there are many ways, and there's, one of the things I always think about, about moving away from capitalism towards socialism, towards communism, and eventually, to some form of stateless, moneyless, classless society, eventually, whichever form it takes, because, people gotta be happy. That's the point. We need to tiptoe through it and try things, and it's cool to try things and be wrong. And say, okay, we can undo if it does any damage, or if it takes us to a dead end, we undo the damage and try something else, or try several things at once. There's no one size fits all, and we gotta try stuff. There has to be wiggle room for trial and error. Societies are not, like board games, or they're not simple structures. We need to try stuff, and we need to stick to what it works, and come up with new things even when we find new problems. There's no roadmap that will take us there infallibly. There's no such thing. We need to try things as they come. We need to figure it out as we go, and we need to make it happen, basically. So, moving on. Sorry, I'm ranting again. So, there's a recommendation below. Yep. So we're going for 6. However, because bourgeois and non-proletarian socialism is older than proletarian socialism, chauvinist socialism is older than internationalist socialism. The history of socialism subsumed under a European canon thus failed to separate European particulars from universals. A few key points for a truly historically accurate materialism were lost in the vigor of socialist movements. 1. There's no universal proletarian class nature, at least initially, if there is to be proletarian revolution later. It needs to end up being proletarian internationalism to succeed, because the nation-state as a structure has always and will always benefit the bourgeois. Yeah, good point. Ignore this or handle it delicately at your own peril. That's true, because you gotta trade with other countries too, and those trade relationships are gonna end up taking the bourgeois shape. The thing is, yeah, as I say, one step at a time, if you know what I'm saying. 2, there's also no universal bourgeois class. Absolutely, every bourgeois class has their own characteristics. Class nature either. Some bourgeois are indeed traditionally colonialist, but others do have occasion to believe in peaceful class compromise, though this still means that they thwart revolutionary proletarian class struggle and are in function, regardless of intention, a controlled opposition. Yeah. Some bourgeois people may even break away and betray their class position. Fuck, this thread is fucking gold. Yeah. Petty bourgeoisie and labor aristocrats, even as Marx noted in 1851, see themselves as above class antagonism, and that's I might add that that's by design. That divide and conquer. That's fucking divide and conquer. And don't have a narrow class interest fixated and egoically insular identity. They tend to genuinely believe that class compromise or quote unquote peaceful class negation can solve everyone's problems by undoing the leftover trappings of feudalism and making capitalism more egalitarian. What do you know? Marx initially erred, even tried to clear it up later as things went awry in socialist movements outside of Europe, in failing to popularize that. Determinations he made about the nature of class struggle under industrial capitalism were initially made using French history. That's right. During a time where he doesn't stop talking about the Paris. Most of the notes, in the translation notes they make, they don't stop talking about the Paris Commune. Sorry, I got sidetracked. They had a maritime aristocratic ownership class and a peasant artisan working class. He later switched to saying that the nature of capitalism itself in England would be better analyzed using industrial Europe, not proto-industrial France. His own lack of clarity made it seem like European particularities were universal, and he didn't do enough soon enough to clear this up. This amalgamation of European particulars reified as universals was unwieldy, since he didn't disaggregate particularities of European statecraft and ideology. That's what I'm trying to talk about. In my former rant, everybody's society has cultural, specific, and social relations that are specific, even material relations that are specific. And in a country that's has a warmer climate, there are going to be different material conditions and different types of industries. There's going to be more agriculture and less industry. Or talking about what I know. For instance, my country, Spain, was deindustrialized by the agreement of entering the European Union. One of the parts of the agreement is like, you're going into the European Union, you're going to benefit from being in the European Union, but at the same time, you got to sacrifice your industry. So our country is not industrial anymore. But basically, its economy is based on agriculture on one hand, which is not so important, but the most important industry in Spain is tourism. We have big white people from the north coming and get drunk for cheap here, basically, and that's fucked up. That's a fucked up model because it's temporary economy. It doesn't give us any value added to the work we do in Spain in general. We're the slaves of the world. We're the waiters of the world. What do you want to drink, motherfucker? That's not the way to work. Every nation is different, but also every society is comprised of many different types of people. Not just individuals, but also, classes. It's not classes, but let's say, types of people, with different types of talents and different types of organizations. So to get rid of the industry was a death sentence for the Spanish economy, for instance. Yeah, sidetracked again. Sorry about it. Anyway, safeguard, he was clouded in his own judgment, obvious in the fact that he still sided with the Germanic chauvinism, and that his written critique of political economy lacked a precision of analysis of ideology and the state in general, regardless of what he actually knew in his own mind and hashed out later. Instead of the following facts of historical materialism were left unclear in favor of expedience and rhetorical impact. Which, sometimes you got to make it simple, and you lose a lot of nuance. And, as he's mentioning, probably Marx knew about this and failed to make it clear, and you know how it goes, somebody misunderstands something you write or say, and that goes snowball all the way, and it's like, I didn't mean that. And mostly in the online world, it's like, fuck you, it's too late, you know. you're you're fucked. If you know what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to, whatever you put in the chat, I'm gonna read it slowly and carefully, because it's a very let's say unbalanced relationship, and it's unfair to you. I'm really sorry for that. I'll try to be. I hope you're all comfortable and good. I don't. I just found this. I think it's fucking gold. I don't know if you agree. I think it's fucking gold. I think it's fucking gold. This analysis, it's really good stuff. The misunderstanding about Marx. Let's the the contradictory concept of uh, the cult of dialectical materialism. The cult of Marxism, which is a contradiction in itself. Like Marxism, it's about asking questions, and no, it's scientific in a way that science is never saying I am right. It's saying I found this out. It may or may not be right, and time will tell if we change our mind, if this was true or not true, and if there is nuance to everything, right? So people who go, "Oh, I'm a Marxist, hardcore motherfucker," and go like, go like a, go like a, all dogmatic about it. Is like you're doing. You keep saying that word. I don't know. I don't think you know what it actually means. Quoting the Princess Bride here because I'm a boomer. Fuck that shit. Anyway. Experience, namely that ideologies like national chauvinism are historically rooted as several non-deterministic routes to state power in the particularities of Europe, more a historical accident than a necessity for statecraft. As proven by non-European statecraft projects that even managed to give people who were enslaved some positive liberties, rather than using slavery to fully absorb national minorities into a disciplined monoculture and allowed for more self-determination within state territories, more plurinational in a sense. I would say Cuba. The Afro-Cuban culture was, thrived under the Castro regime, right? And the current Cuban form of state is very tolerant with different, cultures and different identities. Even they caught up on LGBTQ, which is admirable considering it was a very fucked up thing. But then again, this thing started in the 60s, and who was doing their homework back in the 60s, right? Who was actually caught up with LGBTQI plus, with back in the 60s? Nobody, motherfuckers. A few intellectuals. That's about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, Marx believed that the manufacture, at least in Europe, must be separated from agriculture, and the destruction of rural domestic industry was necessary to do so. And this must be accomplished through nation-state-centered chauvinism, displacing the rural peasants as well as the city-state-centric or plurinational tendencies of pre-capitalist governments. I don't know, because the hammer and sickle itself, these states, they had it like representing both the industrial and the agricultural. But I see that, that there is a separation to a certain point. There has to be a separation in a way that they have different specificities, but there's also a union in a way that everybody's working class no matter what. But, there's a lot of nuance to that. There's a lot to be added, but yeah, I get it. Be also precise analysis of the state was lost in expedience and focus on particularities, namely that the state needn't leverage colonialism, public debts, heavy taxes, protectionism, and commercial warfare to build out statecraft and industrial capital. Yeah, that's the case of China, basically. Where Marxism, much to Marx's dismay, like in a nutshell, there's a lot of nuance to China and a lot of things that we don't know about, so let's keep it low-key. Much to Marx's dismay, it did often take the form of trying to use the proletarian movement to build state infrastructure in such a national chauvinist nation statist manner because he didn't clearly elaborate beyond European non-deterministic historian particularities. This led followers of Marxist movements, who Marx vocally separated himself from and criticized, to see the nation state rather than other options like plurinational federated states as the only structure able to support capitalist production and expansion in all cases everywhere. Some movements have even gone so far as to miss his later emphasis on international proletarianism, and it's true. I mean, we were structured in internationals, internationales, internationales, and it's about sharing the experience and applying, applying everything in shared experience and solidarity, not only within the country, but between proletarians everywhere. That's why I think it was a mistake, for the for the Stalin regime to fuck up the Spanish Civil War like they did. They should have given support and solidarity and fuck the geopolitical interest to make friends with the United States in the threat. In the threat of the German, the mess was happening in Germany in the 1930s, that in the preamble of the Civil War, in World War II, right? Colonizers cynically use identity politics to divide us, so true. Just like how they use colonized natives to fight proxy wars. So motherfucking true. That's absolutely, identity politics are great towards undoing the damage that capitalism has done to us, because they are great towards finding the solution. But let's say identity oppression is instrumental to material oppression. That's why we need to really be good at defending identity politics, but as something that gets together with everything else. That's a fundamental thing about intersectionality. That we really need to be keen, but we really need to have solidarity for all the oppressed people in the world. When the Spanish version of the International says "Arriba, parias de la tierra," up, rise up, pariahs of the earth. And that's who we need to lift up. So a good understanding of identity politics about race, about species, about all of the let's say all of the oppressions that a LARPy, one of these fake Marxist 14-year-old kid on Twitter is gonna dismiss right off the bat. They're instrumental towards building solidarity between everybody. So I'm not a woman, I'm not a non-binary person, I'm not a trans person. But I have nothing but absolute solidarity with women, with non-binary people, with trans people. I am there in the struggle. When they mobilize, I go to their mobilizations and I support the shit out of them, because those are also my people. Those are also our people. That, even when those oppressions, we don't have them, we need to stand side by side with them and support them and being 100% on board with their struggles, because their struggles are our struggles, because they're all instrumental to the same gang of rich-ass motherfuckers who are screwing us up because they think they're entitled to. They think they're doing the right thing, the motherfuckers. They think they're entitled to be the owners of the fucking world and to strive for power by the sake of power itself, because power for them is like a fucking drug. But it's not on us. And when we stand together, all of us, that's where the magic happens. That's where their power, their assumed power, unravels and goes to shit. Because the power is us, the people who make the stuff, the people who are in the world, standing together, side by side, Anyway, sorry about the rant. I got a little bit heated up. Shit, what a mess I am, right? Anyway, let's pick it up. Chauvinism, yeah. Yep. This screws over national minorities in every case. So yeah, despite the fact that it's unnecessary and Eurocentric. Engels also pushed for such expedience over clarity, possibly due to his own xenophobic tendencies against Slavs. Unlike Marx, only later. Yeah, he was. I didn't know he was xenophobic towards Slavs. I love my Slavs. Slavs are fantastic people. You gotta love them. They're really nice. I love Slavic people. And, they were fucked up by the Nazis too, by the Nancies and the Pelosi's. They got really fucked by them, how many of them died in the camps. I feel for those people, the good people, Slavic people, they're passionate, they're hard, tough as nails, and wonderful, incredible sense of humor. It's a great culture, and you gotta love it. And I love Slavic people. Sorry about the tangent, but yeah, like Marx only later clarified that economic determinism and a universal class nature is an error. Yeah, I mean, there's no such a thing. There's a class relationship, a material relationship towards the means of production, towards the economy. That is true. We're the ones being exploited, and they're the ones who are exploiting. So and that's about it. Everything else, we have our peculiarities. And when it's time to enact change, because revolution is a long process of change. Everybody who gets all LARPy and shit, and go like the revolution it's a piece of war that you go and get the weapons and and then it's like 2 or 3 days and everything is done and then we fix the world. It's like, fuck that shit. It's a long ass process of destroying the oppressive structures and building the support networks. It's a lot of work. It cannot be done in the wink of an eye. it's a lot of work, and you'd be fooling yourself. Yeah, I'm all for intersectionalism too. We need to understand our fucking world. The fucking world is fucking complex. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not especially smart. I have to take it one thing at a time. But I understand there's more things than the thing that I'm thinking about right now. And I gotta respect that, we gotta be humble. I think humility is a good quality for anybody, for a human being, but especially for leftists. Because if we're humble about it, what can I do? What we gotta ask ourselves, what can I do to help? Well, how am I helping? Am I helping? Am I doing? When Kari wrote this fucking awesome thread, probably they thought like, am I helping? And the answer was, fuck yes, I'm helping. I'm sharing this knowledge that is fucking awesome. I'm sharing this analysis that I make that I think is valuable. So I'm going to write this shit down. They did a fantastic job. That's what we have to ask ourselves. And, this fame of Twitter being a shithole for shit takes and bullshit, And it's about, well, you can also find treasures like this, You can also find really good thoughts that are put in a nutshell, so you can actually figure out, think about things. It makes you think. It makes you wonder. It makes you, figure out things and understand things that you haven't thought about. So, it's not all shit. There's a lot of good stuff out there. You just need to know how to find it, I guess, or be lucky enough to find the people that are right. That are right. Right is a fucking bad word, but the people who are appropriate. For having a good experience, I would say, and uplift that people who are fantastic and who we love and respect by all means. I'm gonna continue reading. Drink a little bit of water. At any rate, let's keep going. This is good stuff. Now, can I have that economic to Europe? Weren't precise enough until after the ideas were spread programmatically beyond Europe, putting national minorities in danger. Yeah, such danger that the future leaders would have to course correct after catastrophic damage and brutality. It's better than we course correct before the damage is done, but sometimes you get carried away. It's fucked up. So sorry to hear that. However, Because of the emphasis Engels believed they needed to give to the economic over anything else, these particularities were reified as universals, which later and concurrent statecraft projects proved not to be universally necessary, regardless of Marx of Engels' actual precise views. Yeah, it's again, you know, you need to push in one vector and go like I hope I'm lucky enough that somebody else pushes in another vector. Shit is complex. Systems are complex. It's fine, you know, one thing at a time. You know, there's a difficulty that our systems, our societies are very complex, but there's also the advantage that there's a shit ton of us doing good work. I mean, maybe not me. I'm trying my best, okay? But there's a lot of us, you know, who are helping each other, so we can tackle this together. You know, individually, not really, but together, fuck yeah, we can do it. You know, it's you know, let's leave the fucking ego at the door and work together and lift each other up and have solidarity with each other. You know, this really good stuff. So, yeah, sorry. Nation-statist industrial bourgeois favoring chauvinism is a particularity of European capitalism as it played out prior to much organized intervention, not a universal quality of all far-reaching capitalist development that has to play out and be directed by a workers' movement. The damage continues to this day and has been seen in movements as far-flung as the Americas and Asia. Eurocentric countries, you were saying, I can help in my own way. Yeah, of course. I may not be the most intellectual or argumentative person, but I have other skills. Exactly, Randy. Same here, fam. I'm trying. We're all trying, and the fact that we all have like different skills is not a weakness. It's a strength. Because when we put all our skills together, nobody has all of the skills. Fuck that shit. That's myth, you know, the great man bullshit and whatnot, you know. Yeah, it's you know, it's a strength because we together are people who are good at this or that thing, but we together are like a big ass beast that is good at everything. Let's read that sarcastic comment. Javi, no. We should all be vitriolic towards each other. Yeah. Like my dear leader, God Emperor Trump, whose vitriolic tweets are an example to us all on how we should be towards each other. I agree that being humble is useful. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly, right? It's like they push us to be vitriolic, to dunk on each other. Let's dunk on this and that, you know. But how many people have you been helping today? You know, that's a good question that you should ask yourself. We all should ask ourselves. I'm including myself. It's not you as a person, because it's us generally. We should ask ourselves: have we helped someone today? Have we done something useful for other people? Not for gaining capital or for surviving in this hellscape of capitalism, which is another worry that is definitely needs to be addressed. But did we do anything helpful for our comrades? Did we do anything helpful to advance the revolution? I've been to this long ass meeting with DM25 people who are fantastic people. And I'm streaming today right now. I don't know if I'm going to do anything more useful or I'm going to fall into 100% self-care, which is really good too. But we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. Right now. Eurocentric countries are at greatest disadvantage because their statecraft and the partial European Marxist canon, without his later corrections, continue to combine to reify these mistaken quote-unquote universals, which cause quote-unquote historical materials reduction. Right on. And then he tagged me and AJ, EJ, Claire, Paul, and a couple of people I don't know, but sure are fantastic. Just read part one of Black Marxism. It shows where the errors in the Eurocentric leftism come from. You're my only YouTube mutuals. I don't want to be on YouTube, but above it is a summary you can use for material if desired. You rock. You rock, Kari. You rock all the way. Yes. So I'm gonna Hiri. Hey, it does the fades now. That's great. Anyway, sorry about it's a long read, but it was fucking good. I don't know what are your thoughts about all of this, Eurocentrism, and I'd like to know, I'm gonna reply to Kari later. That was yeah. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. And I think my takeaway, which is maybe not the most insightful, but it is one takeaway, is that there's no one size fits all, and this Eurocentric bullshit. I mean, on the other hand, you have to really figure out that they were talking from their experiences, right? What you can talk or write from is from what you know. Maybe in the heat of the moment, they went like, do this is fantastic, let's do it, ha 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 ha, and it's good to get all heated up, and it's fantastic. The enthusiasm, it moves the masses, and it made their work so fucking influential. Probably not just the accuracy of it. There's a lot of people. We live in this shitty world. There's this shitty economy of confidence, right? And so the whole thing about what do you call it, the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? That the more confident you are, it's probably that the less you know. I don't know. I only know that I don't know. Thing is, I don't know. It's complicated. It's relative, right? But I mean, it's complicated. I don't know what you think about this. I don't know what you think about this. But it's definitely food for thought. My takeaway is that there's no one size fits all. That's something I've been saying for a while, and it sucks that things had to be Eurocentric. It was also the 19th century, which wasn't the best of times, if you know what I'm saying. People lived more isolated from the international community, but more connected to their local communities, which I don't know. It's quite a trade. I don't know to say. I wouldn't say if it's good or bad. I would say it's a trade, right? So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of a lot to process in this thread for sure. But there's no one size fits all, and keep your eyes open. I would say that's a good advice. Keep your eyes open for what's going on in your I'm not even gonna say like your locality or whatever, but in the power structures that affect you as a person and the people around you as a collective, right? How are the power structures today? How do they exist? How they develop, right? And it's different than in the 19th century for sure. And what do we have today in our menu? And how other people may have a different perspective, and we gotta respect that. We gotta respect and acknowledge and analyze and share. Because these share experience, this this connection that we're having right now, through the air, with some comrades. That's valuable. We need to figure out how things are going on your side of the pipe as well. And I can tell you all about my shit, the shit that's going on in Spain and Madrid, the community of Madrid, where we have like the worst government ever, and that they're fucked up in the head, and they want to privatize everything and sell everything out. So they don't care that people are dying, they're obeying what Orange Man is telling them, right? So now they're going for the what's it called, not a calling, but kind of a calling. The herd immunity, right? And they're going for that. So they're leaving us in the open and see how many people die. And it's like, let's see it. Yeah, they're peasants. Fuck them. We need to make our business. That's what they're thinking. Those motherfuckers. So they're making their business, and they're putting our bodies as part of their business. That's basically it. And that's a very, very, very fucked up thing. Anyway, we've been going on for about 2 hours, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. Good people, thank you all for coming to the stream. I hope y'all are doing well. Stay safe and think about that revolution that needs to happen. That it's a long process, it's a long road. Then make more comrades, share the experience, love the shit out of each other, or at least respect the shit out of each other. You don't have to. I mean, the more people you love and the more people love you, the better. But we also have the capacity, we have to love as much people as we want, as we can. But what we do have is the capacity to respect everybody. Even fucking right-wingers. Which is fucked up, because they're so fucking wrong, and some of them are unwillingly or unwillingly so fucking evil. But let's overthrow their fucking systems, but respect the human beings, the little animal part of them, and fuck their ideology, because that's a very bad one. Anyway, have a great rest of the day and rest of the week and whatnot, and we'll be seeing each other very soon, okay? Much love. Have a great one.